Is it?
So it says we're now streaming.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is our Bletchley and Fenny Stratford Town Council HR committee meeting this evening, the 9th of February. I would just like to start off by introducing myself. My name is Nathaniel Kelly-Wilson, and I am the chairman of this committee. I would like all of the councillors to introduce themselves in turn. So Sam, you're next on my screen.
Hello, I'm Samantha Brown, ward councillor for the Lakes Estate. I think it's Eton North.
Thank you. And also Mike. Sorry,
no,
Michael.
Sounds as though we've lost his
Okay.
audio.
Will we remain quorate if Mike is not present?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Ed, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Ed. I'm Councillor Ed Hume. I represent the Eton North Ward in Bletchley and Fenny Stratford Town Council, and I am a member of this committee because I'm here.
And our clerk, Delia Shepherd, is here. And for those who have watched the stuff in Handforth, we do believe that she has some authority in our council. So thank you. Could we please have any apologies for absence?
Yes, apologies for absence from Councillor Kennedy tonight.
Thank you very much. That's noted. And are there any members' declarations of interest on the agenda? No. If we could go on to consider the minutes of the next meeting, they're pages 1 to 2 of your pack. So page 1 is the minutes of the meeting of the HR committee on the 5th of January. Reviewing page 1. Page 2. And is everybody happy with those minutes being accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah. If we can go on to the next item of the agenda, which is to note the draft minutes of the HR subcommittee, which happened last week, which are agenda item 4, pages 3, 4, and 5 in your pack. So if we could review page 3, please.
Chair, could I just make a comment, please?
Please go.
Councillor Kennedy's drawn my attention to the fact that she wasn't able to hear everything that has been minuted with her presence. So whilst I'm confident that the minutes are an accurate reflection of what was discussed, it may be that Councillor Kennedy will be able to correct the minutes in terms of her attendance, because it was very difficult for me to tell when she left and when she joined the meeting and when she could hear and when she couldn't. But
Okay.
she said to me today that she was not able to hear everything that has been minuted. So I think that needs to be brought to everyone's attention.
Can we note that there were internet problems, and I think from the night it did appear quite severe. So I'm not sure.
It was severe, I think. Yeah. I've tried to capture it in the minutes, but I think it was difficult to capture who was present when.
Yeah. Okay, so are those with that note, are members happy? Oh, it's for that committee to review its own minutes?
Yes.
Just noting them.
Just for noting.
Yeah, thank you. So agreed there, noted. Any items of public speaking for this evening?
No, Chairman, nobody's requested to speak.
Okay. And so item 6 on the agenda is next, which is a review of employee notice periods.
Yes. If I can speak to this one, please.
Yeah.
Members will remember from the last time we reviewed our standard contracts that all employees' contracts currently contain a 1-month notice period. And it's been considered by some councillors that for more senior appointments within the staff team, it might be beneficial to have a slightly longer notice period, which would give the council more time to undertake recruitment when for example, I or one of the two members of the management team with me gave notice, it's a very short period of time, 4 weeks for the council. I've taken advice from Ellis Whittam on this matter, and they see no difficulties with this whatsoever. In terms of new employees, it's just a question of the council determining what notice period it feels is appropriate. In terms of existing employees, obviously there'd have to be a negotiation to amend the terms of existing contracts by agreement with the employees. I can speak for myself and say that I don't think I would have any objections to my contract being altered in this way, but I have not raised it with other members of staff as yet, depending on what the view of this committee is. I think the important thing for the committee is, if you decide that you wish to lengthen the notice period, is that it has to be aligned to specific roles and a specific level of seniority rather than to individual people. It must be aligned to posts and roles.
You're on mute.
Sorry. Any comments from members present?
No.
I think my comment is I think it should be the management level, and we should go for it to protect ourselves and for the employees also to at that level to have that knowledge of 3-month notice period as well.
Any other comments?
No, I agree with having a longer period of like doing their notice so we can employ somebody.
There was one other role other than the managers that jumped out at me on the structure in terms of, and it's probably the finance officer, and the reason is because I think it would take more than 4 weeks to bring them up to speed. And actually, I think that just from a succession situation, if it puts a lot of pressure on the support services manager and the town clerk and responsible financial officer to with someone with 4 weeks, and actually it's unlikely there's going to be any handover between two people doing that same role, because by the time it's advertised and interviewed and someone gives notice, it could potentially be 4 weeks already. So that is the only other role that really jumped out at me. I don't know, I've not discussed this with Delia up front. I don't know whether you would have any concerns with that, or.
And I think that's a very fair point, Chair.
Okay, so members, is that a decision that we feel that we could put forward now, or is there any kind of did anyone have a discussion about the length of what might be a usual notice period? I do profess that I have never read the Green Book, and I'm not sure what it says on notice periods, but in my day job, members of the management team are generally on 3 months notice, and we do have some key roles that aren't managers that are probably on 2, so that could be some kind of starting point that we could have a discussion about, and what you feel is relevant.
I think on that, even I think my view is the 3 months is a fairly standard type period. I know, many companies and public sectors have 3 months, so I wouldn't necessarily be adverse to it being three months. Whether the finance role needs to be 3 months, I'm not quite sure how long we would need to take to do some of those that transition. To manage that, whether 2 months would be suitable or 3 months. I don't know the answer to that, and that might be something that the clerk might be able to advise us on this bit. My only other question is just about the process in terms of actually how do we go about changing it to these notice periods, and what does that involve?
From my point of view, when we recruit new people into post, we issue a standard contract with the agreed new notice period. And then with regard to other members of staff, existing members of staff, then we have to consult with them, and in the normal way that we would if we were agreeing a variation of contract. So we'd have to approach them and ask them for consent. I think it does get more difficult if there is an unwillingness to consent.
Yeah, I think that there are steps that you can take to force a change, but it's do you actually want to do those? I mean, I think that potentially the people may look at this as being a disbenefit. It might be a disbenefit if you plan to leave, but actually having a longer notice period is a benefit, because if we ever have to close down the organisation, or we merge with another council, or what, you know, if that role is lost, obviously they would be paid the better of either the statutory notice, which is 1 week per year of service, or contractual notice. So if somebody is on has got a couple of years service and their contractual notice is 3 months, in those circumstances they would be paid 3 months. So it can, depending on how you're looking at it, it can be a benefit.
Chair, I think Councillor MacDonald's is indicating, and I know he wants to speak. Whether he can or not, I'm not entirely sure.
I didn't see your hand. Sorry, Mike. Can't hear you.
Hear me at all?
Yes,
can now.
Everything's going wrong. My headphones are going wrong, I think, as well.
I think it might be the headphones. Yeah,
But I'm just not getting video either.
We can see you. We can see you. If it's any help to know that.
Frozen? Because everybody else is frozen.
No, we're okay.
We can see you.
Okay. I don't know why this is going on. I had the same problem last time, that everybody ended up sounding electronic. Right. Okay, so I'll try and carry on this way then.
Mike, have you got any comments on the notice period?
No.
Okay. So Delia, what do you want us for us to propose what we think are reasonable notice periods, or did you want to do some benchmarking and bring this back?
No, I think what you've proposed is perfectly reasonable.
Okay. So I maybe would propose that the members of the management team are on 3 months' notice, and the finance officer is on 2. I don't know whether anyone would want to second me on that.
I'll second you, Ethan.
Yeah, and all those in favour? So I believe that's unanimous. Okay, the next item on the agenda is around discussion of confidential proposals which may affect staff members, and this was discussed at the meeting held full council on the 19th of January 2021. I'm just going to ask the clerk. I believe this would be a confidential matter at this stage, so we would need to have a resolution to exclude the press and public.
Yes, I think that there's a large part of it that isn't confidential, but I think it would be very difficult to discuss it without making reference to some confidential matters. Therefore, I mean, it'll be captured in the minutes. The decision making will be captured in the minutes, but I think it would be difficult to continue the discussion, in my view.
Okay, so we run the risk of talking about people or people's circumstances, and that's not good to do that in a public meeting. So I will propose that we have a resolution to exclude the press and public. Can I have a seconder, please? Thank you, and all those in favour? Thank you very much. And for those of you watching on YouTube this evening, that